We're constantly gathering huge amounts of biological data. We've mapped the human genome, but the challenge has now become how to make use of it. Today we have Professor Mike Langston from Tennessee to tell us the role maths can play in this. G'day Mike, how are you?
Good day.
Mike,
yes.
How much data are we really talking about?
Oh, so much data we can barely comprehend it. We're now able in a single snapshot to capture measurements about, say, for example, every gene in your body, every protein in your body, all the differences between your genes and my genes, and so we're overwhelmed with the computational task of trying to unravel the story behind those genes.
And how can maths contribute to sorting all that information out?
Well, we need novel new algorithms to be able to tackle the problem. So it's really a four-pronged approach.
Right.
We have the data coming from the biologist. We have statisticians on board to make sure we can handle the noise in the data.
Yep.
We have new algorithms to analyze the data, and we need supercomputer platforms, huge processors to be able to compute the data.
So all these disciplines, which were once more separate, are now sort of cross-fertilizing to come together to sort out a common problem. As
recently as a decade ago, you might find biologists who did little more than sit behind their desk and look at one gene, study that for their entire career. Those days are over. You now have to understand the entire genome for different organisms. It's the same for computer scientists. Guys like me used to hide in the office and prove theorems and hope that the world would come see us. And those days are gone. We now have to get out and interact with the statisticians and the biologists, and we have to be a team player now.
So you have to have really good social skills now, don't you? You've got to communicate.
Well, that's a weakness. That's a weakness for most computer scientists, mathematicians. We have to not be shy. That's the main thing. You don't have to be a great network person. You just have to be able to go out and say, I don't know this, tell me about this. And it's frustrating because most mathematicians and computer scientists are trained in the following way. If you're tackling a problem and you ask someone what the answer is, the answer would be yes, no, or I don't know. When you work with biologists, the answer is often, it depends. And I hate that answer, but you have to learn to live with it, because if you're looking at a huge biological network and you say, if you perturb it this way, does it change or not? It may depend on many other networks, so it's a really complex picture and it's hard to unravel.
Did you ever think, in your wildest dreams when you first started mathematics, that you'd end up working on sort of profound issues to do with human health?
No, not at all. In fact, that would have been the last of my priorities. When I was an undergraduate student back in the 1960s, we have a lot of majors from which to choose, and I did not like biology because at that time, in my view, it was mostly memorization. What is the Krebs cycle and those kinds of things.
Yeah. But
now we have huge volumes of this great discrete data coming online, so it's a great it's a wonderful challenge to compute these things. So I've learned a lot about biology, and it's really the data that's changed the landscape for us all.
So in between protest marches, you
those times have changed too. Those times have changed too, right.
Yeah. So well, let me first ask you, how did you get first interested in getting involved in mathematics?
I always have been, ever since I was a child. Of all the different things I took in schools, I always thought mathematics was sort of the queen of science. It's the beautiful thing. Physics too, chemistry too, all the hard sciences, less so biology, but if you can do mathematics and do it well, it opens doors to all those other sciences.
So there's like the pure logical voice of maths. It was the
I think if you're good at math, you can do many other things.
Yeah.
If you're bad at math, it closes doors.
Yeah. Okay, so you're always interested in maths, and now that you're doing it, is it simply something that gets you hidden away in rooms with computer consoles and calculators, or do you actually get out and travel the world?
That's sort of the stereotypical view of what folks in my line do. No, actually, I have contracts in Australia and Europe. I travel all the time because I have colleagues who are generating these huge volumes of biological data. We need to bring on folks like myself and others who can analyze that data. So instead of hiding away somewhere, we're out all the time learning new things. It's really exciting. See, we're at a great point in time. Right now, in 2008, what we're seeing is a confluence of biological data coming on as it's never done before, supercomputers coming on like we've never seen them before. Look at the improvements in the weather forecasting. You're going to see that in biology too. We see new mathematical algorithms and, again, new statistical tools. So it's a confluence of all these technologies coming together at once. It makes it really a great time to be a scientist, I think.
And what sort of things do you think that we might be looking at in the next 10 to 15 years in terms of biology?
Well, where we want to go is we want to have an impact on human health. You'd like to see the day in which you walk in the doctor's office and maybe even without intervention, they somehow take a sample of blood serum or something. And by the time you go back and see the doctor, we have a full profile on your proteins and what might be wrong. We are now taking populations of rats, mice, humans, separating them by disease and health and able to extract the biological networks out so that we can uncover the fundamental differences, what are causing the diseases. We've never been able to do that before. Those are questions that even a decade ago were completely unassailable. Now we're getting very close to solving those. So I think in the next 10 years you're going to see more and more of that.
So as we're talking here right now, there are probably vast supercomputers crunching away on various data.
I assure you, we have codes doing that right now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
As we speak?
As we speak.
You have your people working on it?
My people are working on it right now.
I'm feeling a lot better.
You feel better now?
Exactly. Well, what is one thing that you enjoy most about maths and the lifestyle of it? Just from a personal point of view.
Well, from a personal point of view, I like the fact that the landscape's always changing. We're always getting new problems. For example, I've had to learn about the effect of radiation on human health, the effect of stress, the effect of alcoholism, all those things, because this data's coming online and we can see it. It's just every day is a new puzzle to solve. I get bored very easily, obviously. So that makes it fun. We have so much of this new data coming online, and we're learning more and more what to do with it and integrate it, because we can get data for genes, we can get data for proteins, we can get data for diseases. The hardest part is putting it all together in one package. So it's always a challenge, and I like a challenge.
You love a challenge.
Love a challenge.
And that's why you're involved in maths.
I think so. I think if you enjoy math, and if you can develop new mathematical tools, and if you can show they have impact on practical science, then it's a great job.
Is there anything that you'd really love to do in the future with maths, as a future pet project or challenge that you've yet to?
Well, there are a lot of challenges I'd like to do. I think this data integration I mentioned is one of the best ones, because we've made a lot of progress on developing tools and technologies for different types of data, but putting it all together in one picture is still very, very difficult. Just some quick numbers. It's thought that in the human body we have about 100 billion cells. We have about 200 different cell types. So we have skin cells and liver cells. Why are they different? Your skin cells and your liver cells have the same DNA. Why are they different? It's because of the regulatory mechanisms inside. So we have to understand that, but that doesn't even get to the protein part. Then we have proteins, so we have all these different types of data, and to me, where I would like to go is to be able to do this data integration. I think that's a challenge. No one's been able to solve that. That's the next challenge down the road, and it will probably require more sophisticated mathematics than we have right now.
So it's a great time to be a mathematician?
Great time to be, absolutely, wonderful time. Yeah, so many great challenges. If you're willing to do, it's a great time if you're willing to go out and get your hands dirty and see the data and work with the domain scientists, as we call them. The physicists, the chemists, the biologists. If you're willing to get your hands dirty and work with the domain scientists, I think it's a great time.
Thanks very much.
Certainly, my pleasure.